my group. I just wanted to make you a quick video about some of the exercises that I'm asking for November. So there's one exercise where I have asked you for to practice your future remote viewing through every month of next year. So what I want you to do is to, in this month of November, it doesn't have to be straight away, but the sooner the better that you can get onto it. So what you can do is you can either just close your eyes and go to January and see what images come to you, go to February, see what images come to you, record through each month of the year, or you can also use paper like this, and you can write, January on it, put it on the floor. Like what I've done before is I've made a sort of timeline like this, and then I stand on January and I sit on it for a while, and I can, there's different ways to kind of like tune into an energy of a month for looking for information. So you can draw images that come to you. You can write, like a free association writing. You can pull a tarot card for January. You can just be in the energy. And the way that it's set up is very much like the constellating. So that's the way that I'm teaching remote viewing. So for those of you that have done the constellations with me, you stand in that energy of that month, and you're just with it, and you're just receiving impressions, images, messages, etc., and recording them. So you put them down. So there's maybe 12 pieces of paper. What I'd like you to do is, if there is a way to draw as well some of the impressions that you are getting. Drawing helps to bypass the conscious mind. And often, if you're seeing something and you draw it, it can sort of present more information than through words. So you can explore the month, each month, in different ways. You can, like I said to you, you can stand on it, see words, impressions, feelings in your body, emotions. You can draw a tarot card. You can do a picture. You can write a poem. You can see what kind of movement comes to mind for January, or what does it feel like your body wants to do or is doing in January. So you just notice all of that and you write it down. Then you move on to February. Notice that. Okay, so you go through the whole year like that, each section looking for images. And you can ask for personal images. You can have 2 sets of views that you're looking for. Personal views, like what's happening in your life personally. And you can also have like a world view, depending on what you feel most drawn to. It can be Africa, can be South Africa. What do you notice? So you can stand on personal and maybe political, that kind of thing. If you want to do the globe, that's also fine. And then what else was I going to say about that? Then when you have sort of viewed this current timeline as it is seen in the moment unfolding, and you get to the end of the year, because this is a one timeline as it is seen now. And I'll explain in a little bit that it's not a fixed trajectory. This is the way that the energy is flowing from this moment forward. But as we know, for all of us that have been in the movement following the information and dates and timelines, is that they are continually shifting. And that is because timelines are created through group consciousness. And so every time something shifts or someone observes something in a certain way, because we're in a war, timeline war, we're up against our ability to create reality versus, say, the other, I'll just call it the other for now's ability to create reality. And so we're in like a bit of a push-pull situation in a collective consciousness kind of way. Anyway, so I'd like you to just view what is currently seen on the timeline. And when you get to the end of 2022, you stand there as if you've arrived at the end of 2022, and you turn around and you look back over the year 2022, and you just kind of gaze over it as if you're looking with the viewpoint from the end of the year, next year, looking back, and you just see if there's anything in addition that is needed to be seen. You can ask for your higher self to offer guidance, maybe messages. What would you say to yourself from the end of the year? What messages would you get from your higher self? Is there guidance for you looking at the 2022 year? What would your higher self possibly say to you from that viewpoint? So do that aspect of the exercise as well. Like, you could consider the end of 2022, like December 2022, a future self at the moment. So you'd ask this future self what advice that part of you has to offer, and just listen for that. Then there's a third part of the exercise, and that is, what would you like to create in this coming year? So that can be explored in different ways. It can be a third row that you are putting down, and this is now a conscious creation. So what would you like to create in this year? You place it into the year. And you can make a dream board with impressions, but it's a similar kind of thing, you know, with creating, is that often you don't exactly know if the timeline is going to match what your personality thinks it must match. So in a way, with the process of creating, or you could say like a remote influence, you want to put something down that you'd like to have an experience of, but you can't really be attached to exactly how and exactly when. Some aspects we can be more in control of, if they're kind of closer to our current reality. But for example, you know, if you want to experience, say, a huge amount of money coming from out of the blue, you can't necessarily know where or how that's going to happen, or when even. You can set it as an intention into the year. It might not come this year. So there's a bit of an art around this. And so I was just chatting to some of the members of the remote viewing group around just understanding that, you know, if you need a bit of fortitude to look ahead, and there is a definite possible emotional component to looking into a future potential. You might see things that are difficult to see and to look at. Like one person saw maybe an unexpected death, for example. And you know, what I say to people is that can be a fixed thing. It can also be a possibility. So in my opinion, death is not a fixed timeline, but you can't interfere with other people's timelines. You can Like if you saw something that could be a danger for you, for example, then you are free with your free will to shift that reality. But you are not allowed to mess with other people's free will. So if you are seeing something that is difficult, you can think about, okay, well, this looking down the river into the future, it's a probability still. It's not a fixed timeline. It might be a fixed timeline, but it's not, time is not a definite. It depends on the person and what it is that they are doing and choosing. So we get into a discussion around who creates destiny and who creates timelines and who create how. Is it us? Are we a master of our own destiny? Or are we what Rob Mercury calls other determined? You know, do we have a self-determined or inward, determined self destiny, or do we think that there's, some fixed destiny outside of us? And so you get to grapple with these kinds of things when you're working on self-mastery, and the idea of being able to shift your timelines and work with things like even your own accident or illness or something like that. The way that I've been taught that is that actually we should be looking down our corridors of time, because we are to be consciously creating our lives. And so we want to be on top of what's coming down this corridor towards us, or this stream, and so that we can make some choices about that. It's like navigating in a very fast lane. You want to know, like, way down the line, oh, there's this boulder that's rolling down the mountain and I'm heading up the mountain. I better just, move to the left, for example. So I hope that helps. If you need any support, please just let me know inside the group, the remote viewing group that I'm running. And yeah, good luck with the exercise. Once you've finished your view with impressions of the year, if you can please just share it to us in the group, that would be wonderful. And some notes on what it is that you would like to be creating, maybe even drawing of the year. So we're moving into like a bit of a dream board, vision board kind of a thing. What is it that you'd like to be creating for next year as well? Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit with the project. Sending love, and see you soon.